Hello YouTube, Tristan Blaze again for another Legacy deck. This is not a traditional deck tech, this is more of a testbed project. What I'm working on, one of the decks I'm working on right now, I'm testing it out before I go all in and get the duels and the fetch lands and the berserks and the sideboard. Just kind of test it out, see how does it work. So we're talking about green-black Infect. Now, one of the reasons why I'm running green-black Infect versus mono-green or blue-green Infect, one green-black Infect is obviously better than mono-green. You have better creatures to choose from. You obviously can get a better sideboard out of it and some more support spells in black. And the reason why I'm running green-black Infect instead of blue-green is green-black is cheaper. If money was not an option, I would definitely be going with blue-green. Noble Hierarchs being what they are, Tropical Islands, blue-based fetch lands. That's going to add way more to my budget for the deck than I really want to put towards it as of now. In the future, I might go with a blue-green build, or I might go 3-color, blue-green-black, I don't know. So we're going to break it down. We've got our creatures, we have our basic spells, pump spells, support spells, and then our lands. Once again, I'm not running duels at this point or fetch lands, so they're all basic except for some utility lands, which I'll get into later. But your main drops on turn 1 are going to be your Inkmoth Nexus or your Glistener Elf. Got your 1/1 flyer Infect when you activate Inkmoth Nexus, and then you got your 1/1 Infect off of Glistener Elf. These can win. These can help you win on turn 2, especially Inkmoth Nexus with a couple Invigorates can easily just put the game away relatively quickly. Glistener Elf, the same thing can happen. You got, say, an Invigorate, a Mutagenic Growth, and a Berserk. You can just make her, say, Invigorate and make it a 5/5, Mutagenic Growth, 7/7, Berserk, 14/7 with Trample. Easily seal the deal. Our 2-drops, we got Ichor Claw Mirror. You got your 1/1, when it gets blocked, it gets +2/+2. Now, you can very easily pump it with your Pendle Havens or any of your other pump spells you have out there. So it's now, say, pump it with Pendle Haven, it's a 2/3, your opponent blocks it, it's now 4/5. With Infect, dealing the -1/-1 counters onto an opponent's creature if they block it with something, more than likely either killing it or severely reducing how strong it is. You got your Plague Stinger. You got your 1/1 flyer, another flying creature, another evasion creature. This and Pendle Haven, along with maybe a pump spell if your opponent doesn't have any flying creatures that they can use, can very quickly end the game as well. And then we have another great reason why I'm running this green-black build is our Phyrexian Crusader. He's a 2/2 first strike, Infect, pro-red, pro-white for 3. You get this against, you drop this early on against, say, Death and Taxes, or a deck that is primarily running red or white removal. Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightnings, Sword of Plowshare, Path to Exiles, and you can just basically just go to town with just your Crusader and just keep swinging every turn. And most of the time against Death and Taxes, the only thing they can really put in front of it is a Batter Skull token or a Revoker. Revoker, don't worry about it because the first strike damage will kill it unless they have Mother of Runes out, which will grant the Revoker protection from black. And if it's a Batter Skull token, you can pump it with something mutagenic growth, invigorate, any type of pump spell to give it that 4 power to just take that germ token out. And now coming to our pump spells, we have our mutagenic growth. You get your +2/+2, you pay your 2 life. I've never hard casted this ever, even in just testing, never hard casted it. We got our Vines of Vastwood. You got your ability to become hexproof, and when you kick the spell you get +4/+4. Now, I do have to talk about Vines of Vastwood for a second, because it doesn't say creature you control, it says target creature. So what does that really do? Well, number one, it keeps your opponent from equipping something like a Jit, or say Sword of Fire and Ice onto a creature. You just got a Vines of Vastwood, their creature. You can't equip it anymore. That's it. You cannot equip that creature. It protects your creatures from targeted forms of removal. It can protect them. I mean, there's not many bounce spells being ran in Legacy. I know a lot of other formats you'll run bounce. Most of the time in Legacy you'll see Chain of Vapor, Echoing Truth, and Submerge are the 3 biggest I've seen. But if you're swinging for lethal, and they're going to play some type of a bounce spell on that creature, you can Vines of Vastwood it. Okay, bounce spell doesn't work anymore. But it's really good for a trick when your opponent's trying to equip something onto one of their creatures, or maybe like target one of their creatures with something, because it's a real fun trick to play. Then we got another free pump spell, Invigorates. We're not really worried about your opponent's life. We're not really worried about the life total your opponent has, because when you run Infect, you only need to deal 10 points of damage. Your opponent can have 1,000,000 life. If they have those 10 Infect counters on them, that's it. Or, not Infect, if they have 10 poison counters on them, that's it. Game is over. You've won. So, we don't care about the Invigorate life cost. Plus, with Berserk, it gets ugly when you Invigorate something and then Berserk it afterwards. Now, here we have 2 spells that I've been testing out. I don't have Berserk right now because I'm still testing the deck. We have Rouse, which is the, like a black version of Invigorate. You pay your 2 life. You give your creature +2/+0 if you have a swamp, which, it's not bad. I mean, if you know you can get in with the creature, playing Rouse isn't really a bad thing. I recommend it. It's not that bad. For a cheap alternative to Berserk, it's great. And then we have like Stonewood Invocation here, which is just, +5/+5 and, Shroud. With the split second ability, it more than likely will not be countered unless your opponent has a very, very good flip on counterbalance. It's probably not going to be countered. Normally, most of the time when you see like a green-black build, you see Stonewood in the board, and you rarely, if ever, see Rouse. I'm on the fence. Me personally, I'm thinking I just get rid of Rouse, and yes, that's an autographed copy. It's not like just some random scribbling. It's an actual autograph by Dave Dorman. I mean, I like Stonewood Invocation, but I do think it's more of a sideboard card. Rouse, I'm not really feeling it. It's good for like the cheap build, but to really, really be competitive, I'm taking that out. That's automatically taken out, and there's going to be 2 Berserks right there when I get it. The other 2 pump spells that are singletons, Might of Old Crows at Groundswell. Reason why is these 2 cards, they're good when they're good, and they suck when they suck. I mean, I hate having to play Might of Old Croza, not in my main phase. I really hate having to play it when it's not my main phase to save a creature. The same thing with groundswell. I hate having to play that when I can't get that landfall trigger to make it +4/+4. It's just like, dude, they're great spells. They're 4 pumps instead of just a 3 pump like Giant Growth, but you have to be in the right situation to get it. I personally only run 1 of each. I'm not really going to go over 1 of each right now. I don't see the point to getting like 2 groundswells or 2 Might of Old Crows. They're great, but you got to be in that situation to make them really, really just pop. Now the support spells for the deck as of now: 3 Duress, 1 Sylvan Library. Duress is great. I get to look at my opponent's hand, creature kill, counters, you know, what have you. Get rid of it. Personally speaking, though, to really make the deck tick, you would want to go... This is a budget build, obviously. I'm going to be adding money to it. If you want to stay budget, but still want to get your duels and fetches, stay with Duress. If you want to have more of a proactive ability, go with Inquisition of Kolazek. If you really, really, really want to be proactive about it, you go with Thoughtseize. Now, that being said, I myself probably just going to go with Inquisition. Last time I checked, it was only about $7. I only need 3 copies for this deck. Maybe a couple of copies for my mono black Pox build I'm running. But, you know, 3 of these right now seems good. The 1 Sylvan Library, I'm on the fence actually with the library. It's great. You know, I get it, like, you know, if I get it, it's great. I can like, okay, I can dig 3 deep now, and I can see like, oh, you know, I don't have a forest, but I dig 3 deep and it's like forest, invigorate, mutagenic growth. Oh yeah, I'll keep that. I'll just pay the 8 life and grab all 3 of those cards, play the forest, and then, you know, start swinging with, you know, invigorate, pumped, you know, whatever I have. If you want to keep the Sylvan Library, just 1. If you're running blue, you got Ponder, you got Brainstorm, you got Gataxian Probe. You're normally running a bunch of those already. Maybe keep a Sylvan for an idea. You know, not an idea. Maybe you know, try Sylvan Library as an idea real quick. You know, some additional manipulation. But if you're running blue, you got the manipulation already. You're running, God, I think you're running at least like 6 to 8 fetch lands already. You got enough library manipulation with blue to really, really just, you know, not need it. But with the black variant, I like it. I like it more when it's early on, because then I can just kind of start burying my opponent with a little bit of card advantage. Late game, and by late game I mean like turn 7 maybe, if that. It's just like it's a wasted draw, and it's like, what the hell, man, why do I even get this? But that's late game, and it's kind of pointless. Move on to our mana base here. We got 6 Alpha Swamps. We got our 5 Time Spiral Forests. Now, I'm liking the deck. Once I get the money, am I going to get the fetch lands and duels? If I still like the deck, yes. Taking out 4 of the swamps, putting in 4 fetch lands, taking out 4 of the forests, putting in 4 duels. So I can wasteland proof myself by just fetching a basic if I need to, or get the duel if I really have to, which I probably will, just because that's how I am. We got our 4 Lotus Petals for some mana acceleration. Then we got our 4 Pendle Havens. This is actually these are only like, I got them for like $3. I think this should be more, because you can just sit there and run, you know, Inkmoth, Pendle Haven, and just keep, you know, beat for 2, and eventually wear your opponent down. Same with Glistener Elf, Plague Stinger, Ichor Claw Mirror. You can, you know, pump with Pendle Haven constantly. most Infect decks run 1. I run 3. I run 3 because it's really good. It gives me that ability. I mean, I've tested it where it's been like, I got, double Ink Moth Nexus and a Pendle Haven and the mana to activate them both, and I draw into another Pendle Haven. So you activate your Ink Moth, pump one with a Pendle Haven, drop the Pendle Haven. Legend rule applies. You send the one that you've already tapped to the yard, pump the other one, and you can swing for 4. I really don't see going down to less than 3 for me. But what I do see primarily, the biggest change I'm going to have is Rouse is probably going to come out, and I'm going to put 2 copies of Berserk in place. Stonewood is moving into the sideboard, and I'm going to have 2 copies of Elvish Spirit Guide in there for more mana accelerant. And then, of course, the lands are going to be switched over. I'm going to have 4 duels, 4 fetches. And then we're going to see how it works. At least with 2 copies of Berserk. I mean, right now I think 2 copies of Berserk is good. I mean, 4 copies would be the best, but at the same time, you need additional pump. You can't just run Berserk without having the pump, and I don't know. I don't want to take out the Duresses or future Inquisitions. I don't want to take out Might of Old Crows or Groundswell either. So I'm just thinking 2 copies of Berserk to test for now. And those will be the main differences when you next see the deck. So once again, like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video. And I'll keep making these deck techs. And I'll keep making random decks because that's what I do. That's my job.